Auntie Elise here in the young adult section at Bowman Library with a new teen book spotlight. And our theme for this week is perfect for what is coming up at the end of this week, which is, if you don't already know, Halloween. So all of our books this week have a spooky, scary theme to it. And I will tell you right now, some of these books are definitely pretty scary. So, if you're not necessarily into like a horror book, one of these may not be the best choice, but you never know. So, we're going to get started with our books for the week. So, this is Rot and Ruin by Jonathan Mayberry. So, Benny was a baby when the zombie apocalypse started. All he can remember is being passed to his half-brother Tom by his mother, who was being dragged down the street by their zombified father. Benny hates Tom for not helping their mother, but everyone else in their town thinks Tom is this like incredible hero because he is the most successful zombie hunter that they have. As Benny grows older, he's expected to have a job to work in this town and to earn his keep, but after trying some jobs and not being too successful, he decides that he's going to go work with his brother, even though he really doesn't want to. As he goes with Tom into the hostile area to look for zombies, his opinion of his brother starts to change as he sees what his brother does on a daily basis and the dangers that he constantly faces. You will get sucked into the horror and the adventure as Tom and Benny need to stay alive. The first in a series, you will want to read the next one to know what happens to Benny after you read Rot and Ruin. Shudder by Courtney Alameda. Micheline is a tetrachromat, someone who can see the undead in a color which helps her to send them back to where they came from. When she takes her team into a dangerous situation, they're going on this like wicked ghost hunt. They are infected with a deadly soul chain that will kill them in a week if they do not find the cure. They decide they need to go find the cure, which then leads to a battle of dead monsters, avoiding the living and looking at the past. Filled with monsters, horror, gore, and a little bit of romance, you will almost want to be on the adventure with this crew, minus the whole dying in 7 days thing. Shudder. One of the creepiest, goriest books I have ever read. The Monstromologist by Rick Yancey. So it's the 19th century in New England, and Will is an orphan who is the apprentice to Dr. Pellinor Warthrop, who calls himself a monstromologist. Will helps the doctor to hunt monsters, and when a grave robber drops off a corpse of a young girl that has something strange, the corpse includes the body of a monster who was actually eating the girl, the doctor discovers that something is happening that's going to be out of control. He figures out that the monster that was included with this corpse is called an anthropogyte. It's a headless monster that feeds through a mouth on its chest, and the numbers are increasing, and it's up to Will the doctor to stop them before they start taking over the town and just killing people and eating them with their mouths that are on their chest. This book is not for the faint of heart. There are some pretty graphic descriptions and gore, but this is the first in a series, and if you can get through this one, you will want to know what happens next with Will and the doctor and as they hunt monsters, and so good. But again, you have been warned. The Monstromologist. House of Furies by Madeline Rue. So it is 1809 in England, and Louise finds herself receiving this offer she cannot refuse. She really needs a job, and she's offered one to go and work at Cold Thistle House, where she will have not only a job, but she will have food and she will have a bed. When she gets there, though, she cannot believe what she sees. The staff is very strange, and she sees ghosts, like creatures, all over the house. She finds out that this house is a boarding house for spirits who have committed horrible misdeeds, and it is there at Cold Thistle House that they receive the justice they are due. And Louisa does not know what to think or do, but then she finds herself being sucked into this world where she is living. This gothic horror will leave you wondering how much is too much justice and when does it end? The first in a trilogy. Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. So when Jane was born, the Civil War and slavery had just ended because the North and the South had to stop fighting each other and they had to band together and join forces. And because they had to fight the dead were coming to life basically like zombies. With the passage of the Native and Negro Re-Education Act, African American boys and girls are forced to go to what are called combat schools, where they are learned how to fight these dead creatures. Jane is sent to one of these schools in Baltimore and is there that she is trained to be an attendant, or basically a bodyguard for a wealthy white family. While Jane and some of her classmates are training, they stumble upon a conspiracy that involves people going missing and enemies that are both dead and alive. She needs to do what she can to keep both herself and her loved ones alive, but she really has no idea what she's fighting, and she has no idea how much danger she actually is in. This alternative history horror will leave you guessing and turning the page. There is a sequel to this one, and it is out, and you will want to read it as soon as you are done with Dread Nation. And our last one is called Through the Woods. It is a graphic novel that contains 5 short stories that each have their own spine-tickling fairy tale gone wrong plotline. There are ghosts, monsters, haunting, gore, and everything else you can start thinking about when you start thinking about horror, but they're also tied into different fairy tale elements. So the two of them mixed together are just kind of spooky and scary just to begin with. If you want to not only read the scariness, but see it as well, this is an awesome book for you, Through the Woods. So these are just 6 of the books that we have here at Bowman that have a spooky, scary theme or nature to them. So if there are one you're looking for and it wasn't one of these 6, feel free to come on by and we will help you find that perfect book. I hope to see you next week when we have a new teen book spotlight with a completely different theme, and I hope you have a great week.